I need to get warmed up. Hey, man, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by my practice room. Thanks for stopping by the channel. And make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button if you're looking over on YouTube. Anyway, this is a different kind of video for me. I haven't done one like this. This may be a new thing. I don't know. We'll see. That warm-up, I'll show you in just a second. I use it a lot of times before I practice, or sometimes before a gig. A buddy of mine showed it to me a long time ago. I was about 18 or 19. We'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, this video. What is this video? Last week on my social profiles and in my lessons with my students, I asked people to send me any kind of questions that you would want me to answer. And there's no topic that's off limits. I'll definitely answer everything that you ask. And I got a whole bunch of interesting questions. I have them on my phone. I don't know that we'll get to all of them in this video, but we'll certainly try. Real quick, I'll show you that that little warm-up that I was doing as we were starting. Basically, it's a combination of double paradiddles and paradiddles. My buddy Kevin showed this to me when I was about 18 or 19 years old. He was a drum corps guy. And I was just trying to start getting my hands together. And so as a warm-up, it's just a couple of double paradiddles and a paradiddle. It allows you to phrase across the beat instead of, like, you know, every paradiddle can be, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or every double paradiddle, if you play them as 16-note triplets, could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. But what you're doing is you're phrasing everything in 16th notes. So you get 2 double paradiddles and a paradiddle, and that'll throw it over to the left side. You do 2 double paradiddles and a paradiddle, and they'll throw it back, and that's the end of the complete cycle. You can also do this with paradiddle-diddles. You'll end up with 2 right-handed double paradiddle-diddles and a paradiddle, and then 2 left paradiddle-diddles and a paradiddle. And just real slow, it's just double paradiddle, double paradiddle, paradiddle, double paradiddle, double paradiddle, or paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, paradiddle, diddle, paradiddle, diddle. It's a great warm-up just to get your hands loose and to teach you some phrasing, some musical phrasing with some basic rudiments. You put that stuff across the drum set, it's pretty cool, very musical. Maybe we'll do a video on that at some point. But yeah, this is my practice room. You don't see the rest of it; it's over on that side of the camera. But yeah, let's get to some of these questions, and let's see what everybody has. I just kind of copied and pasted stuff onto my phone, and we'll start with number 1. Do you think that you're really important enough, or that we really care enough for you to actually film an AMA video? Well, no and no, but I figured this would be fun. At least now I know that I'm important enough to you that you would have even thought that and took the time to send that question. Thank you so much, and I love you. That's the kind of friends that I have. That's where we start with the questions. Let's see. Want to comment on the Matt Starr dishwasher gigs controversy? Very quickly. I get his point. I know the point he's trying to make. But here's what I say. Anytime that you can get any kind of gig that will pay you money, you're starting down the road of being a professional musician. We're going to talk. There's another question that we'll talk about in just a second that has to do with business stuff. But anytime somebody's going to pay you money for anything, whether it's playing music or washing their car, you're providing a service. So I think that you need to keep your head held high when it comes with music. It comes to music that somebody would pay you money to play. Now, do I think that there's a lot of honor or career prestige in playing 7 nights a week for $100 a gig? Not necessarily. Now, when I was in college, that's just about what I did. I didn't play 7 nights a week, but I would play, most nights of the week somewhere, somehow, in clubs and boat houses and country clubs and event centers, people's living rooms if they had living room parties. That anywhere that you can play and make money, if you're trying to start a career as a musician, any paying gig is a good start. But you've got to continually set your eyes towards a higher goal or a higher level, whether that's a better quality of gig or better pay, and this is, again, we'll talk about this in a second, I think. It doesn't matter to me as much, especially now, if the gig is with a name or a marquee name person, or if it's with people you've never heard of. A gig is a gig and pay is pay, but you're always looking forward and trying to do better next week, next month, next year than you did today. And so, do I think that that cover bands are the dishwashers of the music industry? No, I don't think that. I do think that bar gigs, in terms of the hierarchy of gigs, bar gigs are definitely towards the bottom of the totem pole, if you think of it more like a totem pole, or a ladder. It's the first rung on a very long ladder that leads to different levels. I am firmly entrenched in I got both my heels dug in the music middle class. And so a lot of people, if you're like my parents, when I was growing up, they either thought that you played cinder block beer joints for $50 a night, or you were touring the world with the biggest artists that made records and you bought them in a store. And that there were only those two levels. There's a whole gradient in between those two levels that you can very solidly make a living. It's a hard job. Again, I'm going to wait and have that conversation with one of these other questions I see, but you can make a living in that music middle class. So you don't have to think of it like, well, I'm playing this bar gig, I might as well be washing dishes, or that this gig doesn't matter because I'm on the bottom rung of the ladder. You never know who you're playing with on some of those gigs. I've played with some pretty important people on just a basic casual or basic club gig. And a lot of times for me, I don't really do $100 club gigs anymore. I definitely have sort of a threshold on the bottom end of things. But if I'm near the bottom of that threshold, there has to be some other reason why I'm playing that gig. And I have played with people in bands that you know, and I won't say who, because they may not want you to know that they'll go and play clubs when they're not touring the country or touring the world with their huge band. And a lot of times people are just playing at that level when you talk about that kind of musician that's that good, that's that skilled, that's that seasoned, that is touring the country or touring the world in bands that you've heard of. A lot of times they're playing these smaller club gigs, not for that $150 or $175, or Matt's case, his example, $100. Maybe they're playing that gig because they just want to play some different kind of music with different people. Maybe, I know for me, a lot of times, I use it as a place for me to work on an objective. So when I have a club gig, I always have some kind of objective that I'm going into this that goes well beyond the pay of the gig. So recently I'll just tell you, I had a gig at a VFW. And let's just say it wasn't a whole lot of money, but I did it for the people that I was playing with, and also the exercise of, I had about 20 songs that I needed to learn on their song list that I did not know. And so one, I needed to know those songs, but my other exercise for myself was, can I learn 20 songs in 2 hours? So I I basically put on the stopwatch, and I sat down with the Spotify playlist I'd made and my iPad. And in less than 2 hours, I was able to chart those 20 songs out and know how to play them. That was the exercise for me. And then the other half of that lesson for myself was, can I go to the gig, use those charts? I'd listened to the songs more than once. I'd listened to them several times over the next couple of days. Could I take my ear training for those songs, take my basic chart that I'd made on the first listen, and play the songs as if I really knew the songs? And so for me, that was an exercise. And that was the good that I got from doing that gig. Other than hanging out with those guys and trying to make really good sounding music with those two guys, is it going to further my career? Is it going to do anything to raise my profile? I didn't even post a picture of the gig on social media because there's nothing to tell you other than what I'm telling you now. For me, I had the night open, and I wanted to kind of test myself. Can I learn those 20 songs in 2 hours? Can I do those charts and know the songs as well as I needed to know them to play them? And then over the course of the next few days, just immersing myself into listening to that playlist over and over again. Could I take those songs in without actually sitting and playing in the practice room? And thankfully, 100% of those songs went 100%. It played them as if I knew them. The band sounded good. It grooved. It was just a good night all the way around. So do I think that people playing cover gigs are dishwashers? No. In fact, the other side of this is some of the tribute band stuff that I do, or some of the shows where I'm playing with people that used to be in a fairly famous band 40 years ago. In a sense, those are cover gigs. Those are cover gigs too, because in some cases, like if I'm playing with someone who was the lead singer of the Temptations, but he wasn't on the original recording of the song that we're doing, we're really doing a cover of it. But you can't look at it that way. We're performing songs that people love. For some people, it's the soundtrack of their lives. And so you have to start there, that you're helping people tap into their memories and relive some other part of their lives. And I'm playing them in a really nice theater, playing them with incredible musicians from all over the country. And in that case, with those particular shows, like the Motown shows that I do on occasion, you're playing with people that have come through that franchise. Vocal groups, especially from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, are almost like a franchise at this point. In some cases, some of the Hall of Fame groups that I played with, there may not be any original members that are alive even. But there are second and third wave members of those groups, people that were in those groups in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s that are carrying on that lineage. I've got a gig in a few weeks with the Drifters, I think. And some of those guys have been Drifters for 40 years. So you could look at it as a cover band gig, or you could look at it as this is a franchise. And what we're doing is we're playing these tunes that are the soundtrack of the audience's lives, tapping into their memories, helping them to relive a period of time that they really loved. And I'm doing it with some people that really saw some incredible stuff. I've heard some incredible stories from I don't want to call them old timers, but they're definitely older than me. So anyway, yeah. I get what Matt was trying to do. And I know he's trying to stir up a little controversy because that gets you guys watching, that gets you guys engaged. You're typing away on your little device here, and that drives up the number of people that follow, the number of the people that are talking about you. And apparently nowadays, even bad press is good press. So let's see. I'll pick this one off. how many snare drums do you currently own and which one is your favorite? I like that one. Obviously, you can see from the rack I'm sitting next to, there's quite a number of snare drums that are sitting around here, and this is only part of them. There's another rack that's off camera here full of stuff. There's snare drums in the other room. There's a couple of them upstairs. I think at last count, I think I own 85 snare drums, and they're all very different. One of the reasons why I've got multiple drum kits and why I've got a whole lot of snare drums is early in my career, I was trying to make, the 3 snare drums that I owned sound like every kind of snare drum there ever was. But now each one of these drums really has its own kind of personality. Now, there's some of them that are incredibly versatile, like this 5x14 aluminum Gretsch drum. It's incredibly versatile. I can use it for a lot of things. I can tune it up. I can tune it down. I can muffle it down. It has a particular sound. I can leave it wide open. It has a sound. I can change the sound with different heads. But instead of trying to make it sound like most of the rack of these snares, I really can let it do what it does best and set it up for the 4 or 5 different things that it really does best. It's sweet spot for those. These acrylites, I think that everybody should have a Ludwig acrylite of some sort. There's 3 of them that are here. I've got one that's just like this one. It's set up just like it came out in the 70s. I've got another one that has die-cast rims on it. And that has a completely different sound, just putting the die-cast rims. The third one, I think, may have S-hoops on it or something. So there's something different about the third one that make them all very different. But this acrylite has a lot of shortcomings. You can't hit this drum super hard because it just, to me, it folds up. If I'm playing a super loud gig, the acrylite is not the drum to take because you just hit it and it folds up. It almost loses all the things that you like about it when you hit it too hard. Unlike some of these other aluminum snare drums, like this Gretsch Steve-Arone, that's a 6.5 aluminum. One, because it's 6.5, but 2, because it's built differently. I could definitely hit this drum a lot harder and it won't fold up on me. But again, this Steve-Arone aluminum drum, it has a different sound. It has a different character to it. And if I try and make it sound like an acrylite, I'd be sorely disappointed in what it could do. Is it in the same family? Sure. But is it the exact same kind of sound? Can I get the same kind of sound out of that I would get out of this bell brass 5x14 Bucks County bell brass snare? No, not at all. This one, in fact, has about 3 sounds in it that are incredible for recording. But if I go outside of those 3 sounds, I don't like it as much. And so I really try and get what I can out of that drum for what it does best. I mean, we could go through every snare drum. Maybe that's a whole set of videos. What do each of these snare drums do best? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the reason why I've got so many snare drums around here. They each have a character. They each kind of tell their own story. And especially as much time as I spend recording, I really like having the right kind of tool for the job. It's like, I'm sure, not that I'm any good at carpentry at all, but if I were a carpenter, I would probably have more than one kind of hammer, right? Like if I were just driving some small little nails to hang pictures, I wouldn't use a big ball peen hammer. I'd probably have a small little tack hammer that I would use to put those little, brad type nails into the wall to hang pictures with. By the same token, if I really had if I was working on some decking or something and I was having to drive some really, really large nails, I wouldn't use that tack hammer. I wouldn't use a rubber hammer. I would use some kind of steel head hammer that was perfect for that job. I wouldn't use a steel head hammer on something that needed a rubber mallet type hammer. It really is just about having the right tool for the job. So I kind of went long-winded on 2 questions. So you know what we're going to do? I want to keep these short, under 20 minutes if I can. So, I hope that answered those questions for you. We answered 3 questions, and I hope you got a lot of information out of that. And I showed you a warm-up. So come back next time, and I'll show you another thing to do on the pad, and I'll answer some more questions. If you got a lot out of this and you like these kind of videos, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed here on the YouTube channel, if you're watching on YouTube. And please leave a comment down below, whether it's a question that you have you want me to answer in another video, or if you want to weigh in on any of the stuff that we talked about in this video. I really want to use this to have a conversation with you. And that's really why I'm doing this, is just to open up the ability for us to get to know each other and share ideas and share thoughts. And hopefully you'll help make me a little bit more knowledgeable from your experience as well. So thanks so much for watching. That's all I got for you. Until the next time I see you, be awesome to yourself. Be extra awesome to everybody that you meet and talk to today. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Thanks so much.